The first real like family that I found here was just like a bunch of downtown artists. Being around these just fuck-ups like me, that were revered by the art world, like all of a sudden like changed everything, you know? It was like my whole life I went the wrong way, you know what I mean? Like I did the shit that like I wasn't supposed to do, you know, that was like not supposed to make me successful, that was, you know, everything that your parents tell you, if you do that, you know, you'll never get a real job. So to make all those wrong decisions and end up at a place with people that were like-minded and kind of had similar sensibilities, that were respected by, you know, that were in the Whitney Biennial, was huge. It was like, oh, wait a minute, you know, and it's like, you mean we're not fuck-ups, you know? When I first got into tattooing, what was most attractive about it was just the lifestyle. You know, it was this way of making a decent living and like feeding myself without having to really do anything but draw pictures all day. I could travel wherever I wanted to, you know, all my gear fit in a suitcase, and I could go show up at a shop in Paris and tattoo there for a month, and then pack up and go to Tokyo, work there for a month. You know, for being in my early 20s and wanting to do everything I can to avoid responsibility, it was amazing. It wasn't until I really got into it that I realized how special it was, you know. It's kind of like this amazing folk art, you know. It's like this last trade that can't be modernized, you know. Like there'll never be like mass-produced tattoos. They'll never, you know, it's this manual craft done one by one, like for each person. Dealing with, you know, people as a medium as opposed to like canvas or paper, it's you know, it takes a lot more energy. Sometimes I'll have a client that's really inspiring, you know, that just has like amazing energy, and they're great to be around, and I love working on them. And then there's been times when I'll, you know, spend hours and hours on a design, like working on it, and I'll be really excited about it and get there and just, you know, 2 hours into the tattoo, realize the person you're doing it on kind of doesn't deserve it, you know? It's weird when your medium has an opinion. I work with watercolors a lot. I would say I do a lot of like sculptural projects, working from, you know, working with money, or you know, I did this like hologram series recently. It's kind of all over the place, and I think, you know, if I listed all my mediums, it would feel really schizophrenic and sporadic and not really make that much sense. But I think what gives it a coherency is just you know, obviously like my sensibility and like the sense of narrative, you know, and that's kind of what I pull from tattooing. You know, like for so many years, my job has been taking people's you know, ideas or emotion, you know, taking this emotional dilemma and figuring out a way how to communicate that in a summarized image, you know, in one little concise thing, you know, be it a phrase or be it a picture. And so I think it's that dynamic that I try to be true to in all the other mediums. You know, as far as like the actual career evolved, you know, I felt like my work wasn't, I don't know, like it wasn't that sincere, you know, like I was still kind of like sweeping who I really was under the rug, you know, because I kind of had this like, you know, fear that they were going to discover that I was just this blue-collar working class kid trying to be an artist. And the day that I stopped trying to be artsy-fartsy, you know, and just said like, if I'm going to bring anything to the table, it's going to be that blue-collar sensibility, you know, and that like anything, you know, I've been tattooing for 12 years, and anything these hands make is going to reflect those 12 years in one way or another. And I realized that that was a strength, not a weakness.